Hello and welcome to another episode of Kwesi's Corner with me. Today we have the great Mark Fletcher in. Whoop whoop.
It's the sound of the police.
And he's going to be demoing some great cymbals for us, as well as giving us a little insight into what he's been up to, why he's been up to it, and what he's doing with that skill that he's got. What he's got away with. There you go. And you're going to see this up next. So today we have with us Mark Fletcher. Thank you for coming today.
You're welcome. Nothing on telly, so I thought I'd come along.
Happy to have you here today.
Oh, yes.
And for those of you who don't know, Mark Fletcher is a really long-standing, long-term friend of Drumshack and ours, and we're happy to have him here in the studio today to do some bits. Which is
I'm good at
bits and pieces.
Not many pieces.
What about the pieces?
A lot of bits.
Obviously, you've played for a lot of people over the years,
yes,
and you know your styles change and vary according to obviously who you play with. You've played very different musical situations.
I do. Yeah.
Maybe you could fill us in and just a brief account of how you started or when you started and how that went on from there.
Yeah, well, I've always been equally into jazz and rock and roll, old school rock and roll, you know, proper rock and roll that still swung. Because like Earl Palmer, all those, they were all sort of R&B players and that, and it still swung, the old rock and roll stuff, so I'm into that. But I'm more into the sound, the authentic sound of things. Not technically into like the Clave Police and all that with the Latin grooves, but I just like getting the right vibe that they used to get on old records and an old style of playing, which has gone ever since the digital age kicked in, and all the old analog recordings still sound better than all the digital recordings.
Yeah, that's
and it's amazing. The technology's got so far advanced, and you can't beat just a very few mics on a kit or an orchestra and get a great sound. I mean, they can't reproduce it for some reason. They try to do it digitally and it doesn't work.
So would you say a lot of the records that you listened to when you started off playing?
Well, yeah, there wasn't digital. Well, there
yeah.
weren't any digital recordings when I was listening to. It wasn't invented then, you know. And before videos and DVDs and internet, you had a record. If you could, you slowed it down to work out what they were doing. You know, and then you know, it was hit and miss, and you did your version of what you thought it was because you couldn't see the guy playing. That's the best way of learning is watching somebody doing it, not books. Watching somebody and see how they express on the kit. You know what I mean?
What were the earliest examples of bands that would have kind of inspired you? You know, with their passion and
anything from Count Basie to the Beatles and you know, early even Bill Haley, right, and you know, Johnny Bam Bam Lame used to play with Bill Haley, and it was all on carpets and old stuff. The vibe was great. You know, Louis Prima. So you don't know these names, do you?
I know Bill Haley.
Look him up.
But
Louis Prima. Check out Louis Prima.
Sorry,
Check out Spike Jones. Check out Spike Jones. Spike Jones was the in-house drummer for a big record company, and everybody in his band could play, but it was a spoof band. You know, they did comedy stuff, but some serious players, and it's the sound they got that got me. The sound, all about the sound and the feel.
What was that? To do with the inventiveness in the studio and
not really.
Cameras or
not really. It's just that their ability to play, and all of a sudden to come out with something outrageous, and just for a very short burst, or if they're playing just a slow ballad or something like that, or something walking blues, like what I call a Coronation Street sort of tempo. They're so exposed, and it's the hardest thing to play. Elvin. I saw Elvin playing Basin Street Blues, and it was and old New Orleans style, and Basin Street, the whole room just bobbed. Oh, no, that moves me more than any flash that the kids come out with. All it does, just something like that. You think, it's gorgeous, you know. Watching somebody like that play a ballad up close like this. I watched Elvin play like this loads of times.
Okay, so you've been playing for Ronnie Scotts
years.
for a long time.
30 years.
30 years now. Is it 30 years this year?
30 years.
Jeez.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
So you knew Ronnie Scotts when?
Well, Ronnie, yeah, I
when
played
he
in
was
Ronnie's
alive,
band.
yeah.
I played in Ronnie's band.
Wow.
I played with his quartet.
Wow. And a lot of the younger generation know you for that. So when a lot of people talk to me, some of them go, "Oh, that guy plays with Ronnie Scotts."
Oh, that nutter, yeah. He swears at everybody. He swears at everybody. He gives people a hard time. That's well, I used to. Yeah, I don't do it now. But, you know.
I mean, I've been to a few, and
I never had to go.
they were spicy.
Really?
Yeah.
Did I tell rude jokes?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Sorry.
That was right there.
Sorry, everybody. Sorry. Yes.
And what has your work included with them? Because I know you've done some big band stuff.
Lots of big bands. Not so much now, for various reasons. Usually political, but I don't really do much big band stuff. But I've done loads of big band stuff. And it's the best gig for a drummer is in a big band. It's the most fun because you get to not show off, but you get to set things up and have a good time. Even just playing the most simple things, the feeling of a big band is completely different playing. You play the kit differently, you play time differently, because they don't want it too complicated. They don't want it complex. They want a nice strong 2 and 4, and it doesn't swing without the 2 and 4. Man.
No doubt.
So you can't play like you do in, say, a quartet, where you're playing like Coltrane-y stuff and all that sort of thing. It won't be as tight. It's too loose for a big band, But I've seen Elvin playing a big band, and it's great. It moves like crazy. It breathes. George grunts.
Around him?
That was the story, not me.
Obviously, everybody knows that you've worked at Ronnie's a lot, but you've also worked with a lot of artists over the years. What ones in particular did you work with? Maybe you can give us a few name drops.
I've worked with a whole range of from some bebop stuff. I did like nearly 15, 20 years with James Moody. Fantastic. Some of the best stuff. Mark Murphy I did over 25 years with. Ronnie Scott himself, Johnny Griffin, like Jocelyn Brown, I did a TV show and stuff like that. So we did some funky stuff and some like the free stuff. When I lived with Elton Dean, I played a lot of free things like avant-garde stuff, and also prog. I got involved with Soft Machine. I toured with them, Hatfield and the North, all those. It's all there. I don't know how I got involved in all that. It's mainly because it was a social thing I was involved in, and they knew I could wing. That's what Elton Dean used to call me, the best winger in the business. Because where there's no music and no rehearsals, and I had to go in. There's all odd time signatures, and I had to lay something down. So I just think of some common denominator, add the VAT on, and there you got your odd times.
I think I got to use that one. Jeez.
I still do. Don't worry.
So obviously you've used a lot of gear over the years, spanning your career, drums, cymbals, etc.
Yeah.
I myself have seen a couple of bits and pieces that Elvin Jones has given you.
Oh right, I've got some memorabilia. Yeah. I've got his sticks, t-shirts,
amazing, amazing to see that up close.
Oh, no, good.
What do you use nowadays?
I'm using Liberty drums.
Okay.
There's a kit, Liberté. That's
Indeed.
the little short bass from whatever you call it. What's the short stack? What do you call it?
Slim kick.
I call it Eric.
Egg
Eric. No, it's lovely. But you think people play that sort of thing like you heard earlier on. I tuned it right, opened it up, no damping, tune it right, just touch it, and the bottom frequency oozes out of it. Then somebody gets on and goes, "Oh, that's a great bass." No, it's not. It's not. Play your instrument, learn your craft.
How did you come across Liberty, and what led
For
you to
you. You made me aware of Liberty.
Got to pretend that like.
I don't know. Some loose. I had a few kits, but then I helped design this kit they got. Which is a 3-ply kit, which they make their own shells, which is great. Very rare for drum companies to make their own shells. Until recently, there are a few companies doing that, but it's great nowadays. And they made a 3-ply set in like a bright yellow.
Indeed.
And this.
Obviously, you must have a few snares. Few vintage snares.
Well, I've had hundreds.
I've seen a few of them come and go.
I'd look at pictures from 20, 30 years ago, and I had like 20 snare drums.
Jeez.
All that, and the more choice you've got, the more confused you get. Now, this is what I use.
So,
and for
so
20
years,
it's my go-to drum. It's just an early 80s Ludwig hand-hammered bronze. but I put tube lugs on it and stuff. And,
So you put that on posts?
Yeah, I put them on, and it's got chrome on brass hoops, so it sings like crazy.
Right.
And one of these new heads here. This is it. This is Skippy, I call it.
It's for those of you who don't know, you'll see that in a subsequent video. This is a kangaroo head by Kentfield Drums. So thanks Kentfield Drums, and yeah,
it's good.
you'll see that in a bit.
Plays great.
It's gone around the world with you.
Oh yeah, this has. Yeah, but in fact, this doesn't actually belong to me.
Officially.
Somebody loaned me it about 23 years ago. Then he moved to South Africa and he said, "Oh, just keep using it," which means I don't own it.
He may actually watch this.
Oh dear. Yes. Sorry. But old drums have got a good thing. There are certain conveyor belt stuff that has been churned out, and it's like that, and it's sterile. But I always find vintage American drums the best, like Rogers, Ludwig, Camco, all George Way stuff, and Ludwigs. They're great. They're great.
Nice. I've noticed that you use both Regal tips, sticks and brushes. You want to shed some light on that? Because obviously a lot of your game has been on the brushwork. The brushwork is absolutely amazing. There's not many people that I've seen can do what you do with brushes.
Or want to.
There you go. And obviously you use both. So what's your history with Regal tip?
Well, I've been using Regal tip for years. And then they asked me if I wanted a deal, Carol did, and then she came to visit me at a gig I did in New York. And then I signed up with Regal Tip. That's going to be about 8-10 years ago, something like that. But great company, looked after me for over the years, and I just used basic telescopics.
So these are you said there's two versions of those 9As, there's glossy ones. And
well, they also do a butt naked, which is no lacquer at all.
Yeah.
And you think there'd be, great, there's no glossiness, so there'll be more grip. It's the other way around. The gloss actually gives you the grip. And the butt naked goes, because it's just smooth wood.
I see. Okay, so also you endorse Bosphorus as of how long ago have you?
I can't remember.
When you joined a couple of
I'm
years ago?
Well, I've got a set. They gave me a set to use. Some weird stuff happened with all my gear, and they've really been very kind to me. And I use a set of these. I've got at Ronnie's that I use.
These are the syncopation.
That's it. I never know what names
Cymbals.
they are. Sorry.
So, obviously for the video, you've used the Lyric Ride and the Raw hats. I know you used to have the Lyric Ride at one point.
Yeah, I riveted it, and then now I've got one of these, a 23 one of these, that I'll put 5 rivets in.
And you mentioned that your whole set is that?
Yeah, it's the whole set of these, except for I've got a 19-inch Crash, which is one of those shiny red writing ones.
Ah, yeah.
What's that called?
I can't remember.
Thank you. And you work there. Wait a son
The
of a...
shiny one that sounds like like an A, right?
Yeah, like an old A, like a
I got one. With the
beautiful. 19, but I broke one. And I broke a 24-inch. I've got a 24-inch China type with rivets in it. Loads of
nice.
rivets.
Nice.
Yeah.
That must have some fizz on that.
Yeah, but like 90% of the rivets have flown across the stage like bullets. Shrapnel while I'm playing. It's incredible.
That must be something to watch.
It's a dangerous cymbal
Most
in more ways than one.
Most definitely. So obviously you've been using these for a while. What's your opinion of these?
Oh, I love them. I've got a pair of 15s as well. At this range. And they're great. I'm waiting for a heavier bottom cymbal. I want a heavy bottom because they're very bit light on the front. But you think 15s, they're going to be screaming. But I like doing stuff with the hi-hat and the ride, so I like a bit more chip to it. But before that, I had some Harry Honig 14s, which are great.
Oh, the Lyric hats.
Yeah, I used those for about a year. But I wanted something a bit trashier and dirtier and funkier.
Yeah, the syncopation does that.
They're great.
They do.
They roar, and they've got a low end, and it's not screaming highs,
Nice. So, your final words of wisdom for us.
Wisdom.
What would you share?
Liberté. I'd say go and see as many people live. Talk to them. Don't bug them though, because there's certain times where people don't want to be interrupted. As
Especially straight up.
Some people have found out the hard way. That's what But no. Just be polite, have manners, and people will share their wisdom. They will. If you ask sensible questions, if it's going to be like schoolboy questions, forget it. But if you're interested in the profession and the art and learning the craft of playing, then I'm more than happy to share anything with people who says, do you know how so and so did this or like that? I'm not really technically minded. You see, I used to work stuff out and get try and copy everything. But no, I'm more interested in vibe. And when you come to see a gig, that's mostly what on stage that I do is vibe rather than the technical side of it. And there's a lot of technical stuff that comes out which I couldn't sit at the kit and play you. I could not sit at the kit. It happens for the moment. You know, stuff with the left hand, which is terrible. I've got the worst grip in the world. I've broken everything through different situations, right, and different people, and I've had to play with deformities. So, you know, so mine is from vibe and getting the sound and getting the passion out on the kit. That's what it is. Ask. Don't be afraid to ask.
That is some seriously solid advice, guys. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Mark Fletcher, for coming down. We hope you like what you've seen. We've certainly enjoyed ourselves here. Please let us know what you think. Have you got any funny stories about Mark Fletcher?
Stop it. Just stop it now, all right?
Comment below. But until next time, we'll see you guys later. Take care.